So, hey, hi. Now I'm not muted. So, welcome everybody. Welcome to another Monday Coffee with Kalan, whatever time it is for you guys. And like to say hi to Lewis, model making trucker. It was the first one in, so he made it. We also have Dan Harris. Thank you, Dan. Thanks for stopping by. And Jay is in the house. Jay, how's it going? As well as John Paul. Good to see you, John. So just a couple of quick things. I'm trying to get recombobulated. It's going to be more of a chat stream, I think, today, just because there's a few different things I wanted to talk about. But before we do that, let's get to chat here and see who all is in here. So, of course, we had Lewis coming in first, gravy and jam sandwiches. And he said, "Ooh, I'm first in." That's right. And I replied with beetroot and tomato sandwiches, where he replied, let's see, beetroot and tomato. Now, that's just wrong. Yes, it is. He's asking if I got my buddy build. You guys will be learning more about that later this week. So he and I are doing a very special buddy build involving a tall ship. So I'll just leave it at that. You guys can check in later this week to see what that build actually is. Dan is in the house saying, "Morning, Kalan, evening, Lewis." It's afternoon for him. And indeed it is. Welcome to the live stream, Dan. Always good to have you. And Lewis was saying hi to Dan, and I was telling Lewis that I wasn't sure if it had come in yet. Lewis was saying, I'm middle to fair, mate, can't complain, but she does. And he was responding to Dan saying, good, Lewis, and you. And Jay is in the house. Jay's been putting out a lot of awesome builds and been working very hard, especially that new Disney dollhouse looks really cool. In fact, I think you're further ahead than everybody else I've seen on that dollhouse. And it's looking really, really good. Lewis is saying you can't hear me. Hopefully you can hear me now. If you still can't hear me, let me know. But yeah. John Paul saying hello, hi all. And getting what? So yeah, hopefully Wednesday. If you head over to the Model Making Truckers channel, we will be going live on his channel Wednesday. It would be 12 o'clock my time, which is Pacific Standard Time. And then you still can't hear me? Well, hopefully you can. But then on Wednesday, we're planning on doing a live stream. So if you're in in the UK, it's 8 o'clock. So let's see. Bergus was saying, hello, everybody. John Paul asking if I had gone to Doug's place yet. No, I have not. I have not had any time, and I need to get back to him. I haven't heard from him the last few times I tried to get in touch with him. Liz is saying, Nat's told me to say no, I can't hear you. And he says, I can hear Nat was trying to be mean. Okay, fair enough. Thank you, Nat. So I kind of had posed a comment in this live stream as to Partworks, as to whether or not they are worthwhile, basically, is I guess kind of the way I had worded it. And so that to be honest, I'm one of those people that I feel the answer to that question really depends on you as a person. So, the way that I look at things is obviously different than how somebody else is going to look at something. So let's say, for instance, Yeah, and don't forget to stick all your thumbs up. Um, and just a real quick, Kenny from HobbyLink International is in the house. Hi, how's it doing? So with the Partworks, it's basically for somebody like me. I tend to look at every model as a little bit of a challenge. Uh, but you know what you're buying typically when you buy something, and with the Partworks, kind of my mentality going into it green, so to speak, having never done one, not really sure what to expect. I was expecting a lot, and especially for the price that you do pay for them. And so I was, to say the least, very disappointed with the enterprise fairly early on into the enterprise build. And the reason I say that is, so I'm only 2 packs into it. Eagle Moss has not done a great job business-wise handling their customers and communicating and getting the product out to people. So that's one of the issues, which isn't the biggest issue for me. The biggest issue is when you actually look at the build and see where everybody else is down the line with it, and the issues that keep popping up. When you're paying that kind of money, my personal opinion, and granted, this is my opinion, and you don't have to agree with it, but my personal opinion is when you're spending that kind of money on a build and on a model, you're expecting a certain amount of quality. And to me, for the enterprise, that quality just isn't there. And, I could buy the entire Partwork and go through the waiting process of getting everything and end up building the entire kit. But then for me personally, just to make it to the quality of the enterprise that I want to see and have sitting, on my workbench, I would have to spend almost $1,000 in upgrades and additional things just to make it, that way. And so for me, it's not really worth it. For other people that, say they just want something fun and easy to put together that's affordable over time that they can buy, then that is definitely something that, yeah, it works for you. And in the end, you do end up getting a decent model that some people will walk into your living room and go, oh my gosh, that's cool. That's a huge giant enterprise. And they're not going to look at all those crazy details like my eye tends to go to. So that's my take on the enterprise. And for that reason, I have decided to discontinue the enterprise. So I will not be continuing with the enterprise. I do have one last video that will go out for the enterprise. I think it's pack 8, and then I'll be explaining that I will no longer be continuing it. Other builds though, so for instance, Agora models, their Bismarck, the Bismarck, I knew going into it, it wasn't going to be the way that I wanted it. So I immediately knew going in that I was going to be doing all of the additional work and upgrades and modifying it to make it the model that I want it to be. So in the end, the Bismarck from Agora Models is one of those Partworks where, I wouldn't say for a beginner to do it, but it really just depends on your personal opinion, to be honest. And if it's just something you want to put together, do go and watch all the tutorials and know going into it that there are going to be some issues that you're going to have to worry about, and maybe some things that you're going to want to hold off on before you complete it, because they found mistakes along the way that they would have to fix at the very last issue. So that's kind of my whole take on the Bismarck. I mean, it is what it is, and I'm still going to build the 1/200 trumpeter version at some point, which will have a lot of time and effort put into that for sure. So I'm already putting a lot of time and effort into this Bismarck, but I'm not spending a whole lot of extra money on it. Whereas the Ecto 1, I'm only 3 packs into the Ecto 1, and I've already spent over $300 on upgrades and mods for it. So, and the engine, I was very, very disappointed. So I actually put a stop to this the other day, just in filming it, because I don't like the fact that the engine has 0 detail in it. It's all blue. It's not how it's supposed to look, and it's not, in my book, it needs some work. So nothing against the actual part work itself. I mean, honestly, they should have done something about that in the first place, and maybe painted things a few different colors and made it a bit more accurate. But I'm not going to hold that against them in this particular case, just because I do have a lot of money already invested into this. So I'm just going to stop what I'm doing, go back, paint it the way that I want it, and then move forward with it. Because really the only issue I've had so far is, besides the engine, is the hood. They've sent me 2 different hoods and they all have defects on them. So my conclusion to that was just go ahead and leave it. I'm over it. The bumper, not the best. The chrome doesn't look the greatest on it. There's a lot of strange things in the chrome that I don't like, and some bubbles. But you know what? In all honesty, that's pretty easily fixed. So something with my skill set, something that I can go back and fix. And all in all, to be honest, I'm nitpicking very stupid little things with this. So again, that's just my mind and the way that I look at builds and everything like that. So even if I'm building a plastic model kit, I'm going to nitpick little things like that and fix them, and I won't think twice about it. So all in all, I'm just, my personal opinion with Partworks, I never probably will do another Partwork again. But if it's something that, that you're comfortable with and you know what you're getting into, that's the big thing. And just do your research. If you're thinking about doing a Partwork build, just do your research first. And if it's, something that you'd be comfortable and happy with, then go for it. Or if you're willing to put the time and effort into fixing it and upgrading it, then go ahead. So I'm going to head back to comments here and kind of see what people are saying, and I'll answer some of your questions. And so it looks like Kevin's in. How's it doing, Kevin? And just a lot of chit chat and hays and hellos there. Dirk, how's it going? Dirk's in. Hey, what's up? What's up? Model Maniacs. That's right. We are all definitely model maniacs when it comes to the styrene addiction, for sure. Moving on down here. Kenny was saying, save your cash, buy styrene kits and a 3D printer. That is another good point, Kenny. And that's something that kind of my thought process here with the builds and stuff, like a lot of this stuff, especially for like the Ecto 1, can easily be upgraded and modified, or you can do something on a 3D printer for it, which if you are a 3D printer person, you could pretty much design and build the entire 1/8 scale. You could go crazy with it if you wanted and build just a massive full scale model that you want of that build, even with some of the other ships and stuff like that as well. It doesn't just have to be cars. You could easily, with the 3D printer and with resin and all that stuff that's coming out now, and the quality of it, you could easily print different parts for that and still spend less money on the the resin prints and stuff like that. So yeah, I'm totally hear you there, Kenny. Dan was saying, I'm up to pack 18 on the Enterprise, not enthused going forward, but also don't like the idea of stopping this far in. Yeah, I feel you, Dan. It's been a tough call for me because I am a huge Star Trek fan, and I really love the next generation and the Enterprise D. But when it really came down to it, and some things that I was hearing about the build itself, where people are a lot farther than I am, I'm kind of at that point where I don't have that much invested into it, that it's not going to hurt me to just cut it loose. And, it'll open up, those funds for doing other styrene kits that I want to do. Like I'm going to be doing a 1350 Bismarck with a couple of the guys from Hobby Link International. So definitely, I think that's a better place to put my money, so to speak. Lewis is saying 1200 Bismarck. I'll speak to Nat. Yeah. Eventually. So I've been saying, the two main 1200 scale kits that I would love to get down the road is the Trumpeter Bismarck, the 1200 Trumpeter Bismarck, and also the hood. I really want to get the hood. Dirk was saying, look at Kenny jumping on the 3D printing bandwagon. That's right. Kenny actually just got a printer in. I remembered the name of it the other day, but I can't remember. It's an Elegoo, I think, or I might be totally off, but a really nice printer from what I've seen. I don't know anything about 3D printing, but I've been hearing kind of, in the loop of things, just different talk about different printers, and definitely something I would like to get into down the road, just because I see the benefit of it, even for a lot of the plastic kits. Like take the Land Rover, for instance. They put a lot of detail into certain parts of the motor and the engine and all that and transmission, but it doesn't have a distributor. That doesn't make any sense to me. And I've got a buddy, Matthew from Model Car Art. If you've ever seen his channel, Model Car Art, Matthew is currently 3D printing a lot of extra parts for plastic models. And the one thing that he's kind of going all out on is printing distributors, because a lot of kits don't come with a distributor. And that's usually a top side thing on a lot of the older cars, and something that you're going to notice when you lift up the hood. So definitely really cool that he's doing that. Chris K. Hey, Chris, how's it going? Welcome to the live stream. He's saying build real models and screw it up yourself. That's right. And John Paul saying that is huge. Yes. So the Ecto one, I think, is actually one of the larger of the builds. I mean, I have this is the Gone in 60 Seconds Mustang. And there you go. Look at the size difference. I mean, that's just incredible. But also the Cadillacs were massive vehicles to begin with. So definitely it's going to be a huge and heavy model when you're done with it. Kenny was asking, the question is, why do I have to fix something when I'm paying that much money for? I am anti-Partwork. And Kenny, yeah, we all know that. And I can definitely agree with you. It's kind of like one of the points that I had made earlier was, for what you're putting into just getting just the part work, ideally, something that I think would be a good fix for some of the issues, some of us that build the way that I do, a quick fix and an easy fix for that would be to get all of the parts, give the option of buying all of the parts for the kit or doing a piecework of it, but offering it unpainted and all that. So that way, I can worry about what color I want things to be painted, and I also go back and do filler in certain areas that need filler and just fix those issues myself, and maybe offer it at a little lower price. I don't know, but I think that would be an acceptable solution in my eyes to some of these Partwork builds. So yeah, it's funny because I mean, you can ask different people about the Trumpeter 1200 Titanic. And, if you ask Joe over here, Joe's going to say, oh my gosh, this is the best kit I've ever done. It's amazing. All the photo etch and all the extra stuff is really awesome. The fit was okay. Just a few things maybe Joe had to fix there. But then you go and ask Carl over here, and Carl's like, this was the worst. What you paid $400 or $500 for this kit, and it's terrible. And it's like, so it depends on the person, and it also depends on kind of what your ultimate goals are as a model builder. So that's one way of looking at it. And something that I didn't do before getting into Partworks was I didn't do the research. And that's something usually when I spend even buying a new barbecue, I'll spend hours and hours going over your reviews and looking at just different reviews and researching everything, just trying to make sure that I'm getting the best barbecue for my money. But when it came to the Partworks, I was so excited about the Enterprise, I just jumped in and grabbed it. And then I saw this one, and I ordered that one, and then I ordered this one. And so I didn't do that research. And now that I've had time to experience the builds and kind of delve into that community and the different issues that are arising with them, I'm kind of kicking myself for that. So yeah, that's definitely one way of looking at it. Let's see. Kenny was saying, not my first 3D printer, Dirk. Had a XYZ a long time ago, finally back into it. Okay, nice. Yeah, I remember years and years ago. Hey D, how's it going? Good to see you. Thanks for stopping in. But yeah, he got a 3D printer when they were first coming out, and they were really expensive, and he was printing some awesome stuff. But now, like, printers are super cheap. Well, some of them, and they're pumping out really cool stuff. Lewis was saying, I'm not allowed a 3D printer yet. Yeah, I think my wife would probably bury me in the backyard if I bought a 3D printer at this moment. And Nat's in the house. Good evening, Kalan, and all in chat. Personally, I'm going off the idea of Partworks. All 3 Hachette Partworks I've had, including Eddie Stobart, have all had issues. Yes, Nat, that is unfortunately becoming very apparent with the Eddie Stobart that you're working on. And if you haven't seen Dexter's Crafters YouTube, I recommend heading over and checking it out. She does a lot more than just model building. She does just about everything. And the Eddie Stobart is one of the builds that she's working on right now. And I'm just going to say, go watch it. And if you're interested in finding out what issues she's having, she'll let you know. Dirk was saying, you make it sound easy to design and print something. It's not that easy. It's an effort. I'm assuming that is pointed in my direction. And I understand. Yeah, it takes. So I've done a lot of architecture in my life, and a lot of it just for personal stuff. Whenever I do anything or any type of construction project, I always design it out, and I sketch it out, and then I do a complete drawing for it, and that takes time. And I know that CAD on the computer takes a lot of time too. I've been playing with that a little bit in the last few years, and definitely going into the print of things. I know if I was to get a 3D printer, I would be throwing it out the window because I'm not that familiar with them, and it's a whole learning process. So definitely, yeah, no, I feel you on that, Dirk. And Lewis is saying hi to D, my friend. I'm okay, thank you. And how are you? And Nat was saying, I can see the appeal, but I'm beginning to wonder, are they worth the money, especially the model ones? Yeah, that's, and I know Lewis, he had such a bad experience with the Hachette Bismarck. And I don't know if Agora is any better, but for me personally, knowing what I want, having that vision with the Bismarck of where I want it to be in the end. I think that because I started that from the beginning. I didn't decide that, 3 or 4 packs in where I was kind of screwed and like, oh man, this is looking like crap and it could be better. So I caught that early on. I caught that actually the first pack I opened, I was like, okay, this isn't going to work for me. So me personally, that was how I had made that decision to early on to do the upgrades for the Bismarck. And unfortunately, I hadn't decided that with the Ecto 1. I was on the fence about the Ecto 1, to be honest with you, altogether. But at this point, I have so much invested into it. I might as well just keep going and then make those modifications, because it's not that hard to go back and fix them, because I'm not too far into it. And as far as the Gone in 60 Seconds Eleanor Mustang is concerned, that I'm building it out of the box. I don't care, because it's, for the most part, that's actually one of the better builds. And I've had less issues with that than I've had with any other Partwork. The fire truck, so since I have made the decision to donate the fire truck to my fire department museum, I will be continuing with it. However, it's already been decided early on that we are modifying it, or that I am modifying it. And so those modifications are already kind of in mind and into the whole process of it. And it's not a very expensive model, so I can kind of be fine with that. See, Kevin was saying, Kalan, why did you choose that Bismarck instead of the 1-200? So Eric and I, Rascals Hobbies, we are going to be building the 1-350 Bismarck just for fun, just as a fun little buddy build just to do. And the reason I'm doing the 1-350 is because it'll be good practice for when I go to do the 1-200, because I will be building the 1-200 from Trumpeter at some point. And I thought doing the 1-350 would just be fun. And Eric was already going to be building it. And I thought, you know what, I personally, the Bismarck is ever since I was a kid, the Bismarck has been one of my favorite battleships of all time. And it's a really beautiful ship. And I always liked the camo on it more than I liked how the Tirpitz looked. The Tirpitz is a very beautiful ship, but for some reason, I was always drawn to the Bismarck and that whole story, I guess. And with the hood as well, the hood just fascinates me, and it was such a beautiful ship. And that whole, just the whole, I don't know what you want to call it, incident or battle between the two. But, it was unfortunate that the hood sunk so quick, and that, I'll say this and I'll probably get frowned upon, but the Bismarck basically earned what was coming to it. But it's the whole story was just fascinating to me as a kid, and my grandpa really loved that. I enjoyed that, so he and I would always watch documentaries on it. And when they discovered the Bismarck at the bottom of the ocean, I was more drawn to that than I ever was the Titanic. I was fascinated with Titanic, but not near as much as the Bismarck. So that's kind of my story there. Anyways, D was saying, just watch Postman Pat's new mode of transport. D, isn't that incredible? So model making trucker Lewis has redesigned the Royal Mail's delivery vehicles. So if you want to go check that out on his channel, I don't know if he's posted it up on the on YouTube yet, but on his Facebook, model making trucker, he has posted some pictures, as well as on Hobby Link International, and it is really, really cool. So props to him for doing that. Dirk was saying, Kalan, since you like Star Trek, did you see my Enterprise C Dreadnought I just printed? I think I did. In fact, I closed everything down because I'm streaming right now. But I think I did see it, and it looked really cool. So, and Ian Campbell, hi Ian, how are you? Like to welcome you to the chat. Hope you're doing well. Always good to see you. And Ian, just a big shout out to him from Partwork Upgrades. He is actually one of the wonderful people that provides a lot of the upgrades that you can get for your Partwork builds, like the power adapters, different add-ons and stencils and rub-on transfers, different things like that, just to improve your Partwork, to kind of kick it up a notch and make it look better. And he is also a patron of the channel, the one and only patron. So if you'd like to help support my channel and become a patron, you too could join Ian and help support my channel and help it grow. And Bergdus, hi Bergdus. It's all a balance of skill, time, and effort. I'm bad at painting and detail, etc. So Partworks are perfect for me. And you know what, Bergdus? That's for you. See, you will have a different viewpoint than I do, or the next person. So it's all, to be honest, and that's kind of my point, is it's really up to your perspective and on what you want to get out of it. But I definitely, the big thing I recommend is just doing research on that particular company and build before doing it, because that it is an investment, and that's a lot of money, and a lot of money to certain people. Like if I went out and dropped $1,200 on a plastic model kit, my wife would shoot me. But because the Partworks are easily accessible at $50 a month or whatever you end up paying for it per month, it's usually a lot more accessible to people, and it's easier to do. It's just like making payments on it, which is really nice. And the concept is good. It's just the execution of the company needs to be better in some of these companies that are doing it. And Kenny was saying, so he got the Elegoo Mono. That's right, the Mono X. So for those of you interested, everybody's saying hi to Mr. Ian Campbell, and hi to Bergdus and Dee and Chris. And then Chris was saying, if you screw something up, just cut the fender off and paint it in rust and say that's what you meant to do. Now, that's not a bad idea, to be totally honest. So we know people that do that in their model making every day. And in fact, it's funny because I always give Chris, the HPI guy, a lot of crap sometimes, because he does everything so fast, and he's really good at what he does. And a lot of times he'll make a mistake though, and he will fess up to it, and he'll make an adjustment to the model just to make it better. And he'll keep going with it because he doesn't want to take that time to stick it in super clean or whatever and clean off all the paint and redo it. And you kind of have to give the guy props for that, because the rest of us, we're going to sit there and nitpick everything and try to make it perfect, and we don't have to. And that's one thing I do love about Chris over at the HPI guys, because he doesn't care what anybody thinks. And you know what? That's kind of the mentality that we all kind of have to have in a way in order to survive in this hobby sometimes. And it's a lot of times it's really hard for some of us to overlook that. We do take things personally a lot of times. So, it's like, I don't want my opinion to hurt somebody's feelings, or my personal opinion about Partworks or anything like that. But I want to get that message across, that if you're interested in starting into a Partwork, just to do the research and know what you're getting into, and really kind of have that mindset of what your expectations are and whether or not they're going to be met. And if you are comfortable with doing that and then making it better and spending that time and money on it, go for it. Lewis was saying, I had an idea to get the half scale R2D2 Partworks and turning it into an Amazon delivery robot. Oh my gosh, Lewis, you have to. So I know you said you're never doing another Partwork, but you have to. So I'll get Nat right on that. She can cancel Eddie Stobart, so you can get the R2D2. Burgess was saying Mustang is 58 centimeters long. Ecto is 80 centimeters long, 8 kilograms and 14 kilograms respectively. Yeah, so and that's actually a huge difference. I didn't realize that was such a big difference. But yeah, when you look at the Ecto 1 on people's workbenches like Wayne's and a lot of the other guys building them, it's incredible at just how big. Like, I don't think it'll fit on my workbench. I know the Bismarck will not fit on my workbench once I get the hull fully put together. And Lewis saying a happy little accident, Chris. Kenny saying that is a good idea, probably about the Amazon delivery robot. Lewis is saying $400 to $500. My Bismarck is about $1,100, but don't tell him that. Too late. She knows. Dirk was saying Nat is here. That is cool. Literally. The literallys are going to have to stop. They're driving me nuts. Lewis is saying she does every type of crafting and has a go at me because I just do model making. Dan was saying World of Wayne is starting the Enterprise over and stripping all the electrics out and replacing the windows with resin. Yes, so he's doing that, as well as Tom. Can't remember Tom's last name. Stand by. I'll tell you in 2 seconds. Or Todd McWilliams is also doing the same thing. So I was talking to him the other day about it, and he's actually going to do the same exact thing. And a lot of people are, to be honest with you, just because it kind of makes sense. For me, it's just not worth it. And, when I told my wife that I was canceling the Enterprise, she literally had a party. So I don't, it's just that way I can also focus on some of these other builds that I'm working on and put the time and effort into those. So, hi, Mark. How's it going? Mark is in the house. Good evening from Dexter's Captor to Dirk. And Chris was saying, throw that Enterprise D in the trash and build your Hind. Yes, I know. I need to get started on the Hind, and I will. So I've made a promise to myself that I will start the Hind as soon as the Land Rover is finished. The Land Rover did get thrown back in her box the other day, but that's just because I needed to get some work done on the Bismarck. And kind of, it's been like the never-ending paint project that it's like just as soon as I do something and get some more paint on, I'm thinking, okay, I'm at the stage where I can put it together, but then I need to go and clear coat everything. And so it's like, you know what? I'm just going to put it in the box for a minute, put it on timeout, and then it'll come back out later this week. Let's see. Dee was saying, I've been with Hachette over 20 years, many Partworks, never had a problem. Stick with what you know. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. See, Hachette, we don't know about Hachette over here, really. There is Model Space, which, from my understanding, was the same thing. But Model Space here is really crazy. Like, there's absolutely nothing in stock if you look at it here. So I don't know. I don't have any experience with them. Nat was saying you're extremely lucky, D. Yeah, D must be one of the lucky ones. So Chris was saying, I think we can blame all this Partwork hysteria on Buck. We can blame Top for everything. That's right. It's always Top's fault. And D was saying 1 or 2 slow issues over the last couple of years. I've only ever dealt with news agents. See, that's probably why you haven't had very many issues. But I also think that Nat is getting hers from a news agent. I'm not 100% sure. Lewis is saying Facebook is the driver's room group. Okay, and it's on HL Live. Not done a finished video on the YouTube yet. Okay, fair enough. And Dirk was saying Mono X sounds like an STD. And Kenny was saying it is. You should see my hands. D was saying to Lewis, so Postman Pat going out of this world on deliveries or R2 working for Amazon. What's next? I said that you should do the R2. That would be hilarious. Burgess was saying regarding the Eleanor, it's kind of slow. If you look at issues in isolation, it's not worth it. But if you look at the quality and mass, and that's it, a part of a massive model, it's so worth it. Yeah, I tend to agree with you there, Burgess. So at first I was a little hesitant with it, to be honest, but as getting into things, so I actually have a lot of upgrades that you guys have yet to see for the Eleanor Gone in 60 Seconds Mustang. So I have a complete overhaul for the engine that was all resin 3D printed, which is beautiful, and I'll be doing that here pretty soon. So you guys will be getting to see some of that extra detail going into it, and it's going to look really awesome in the end. So, but the rest of the kit, other than the engine, is amazing. So that's just what I've heard. So, and from what I've seen as well. Lewis is saying D, give me time, I'll think of something. Very true. Dirk was saying you said literally. I guess your comment of going crazy over the use of that word is a bit exaggerated. Yeah. I could not remotely paint the Eleanor that good, even if my life depended on it. No, the paint looks really good, and so here's the thing. Like the hood actually looks really good, and this was the first and only hood I've gotten. The only thing that I was thinking should have been metal were the pins, the little pin tabs there. But it is what it is, and the paint though does look really good on it compared to some of the other ones that I've seen. And I most likely just got a couple of really bad Ecto 1 hoods, but at this point it's too late to ask for a new one. So it's like, it is what it is, and you really can't even notice it unless you're like looking at it. So that's just the way it is, I guess. Steve, the Maker's Cave, afternoon, Kalan, and everyone else. Good to see you, Steve. Thank you so much for stopping by. And I'm glad to see you are it's pumping out videos again from the new cave. So Maker's Cave did get himself a new cave with plenty of room to move around and set up printers and do all the stuff that they create and sell. So I still have to do a video on the lights that you sent me. I kind of did a brief overview of them, but I haven't had a chance to hook anything up, Steve. I don't have any way to do that yet, or a power supply. So I need to do a little bit of research too on what resistors to put in and all that stuff. And I was going to try to hook it up to the Eleanor's existing wiring as soon as I have something to hook it up to. And I think that should be coming in the next pack. So let's see. Dee was saying deliveries might be quicker though. Very true. And Nat was saying I've subscribed direct to Hachette. So that's, that could be. I always kind of wondered if the news agents maybe get better. They get the good stuff out there first that they know is not an issue. And then everything else might be the back end of production. I don't know. Steve was saying, I'm with Burgess. Shipments have been slow, but it's a nice looking large model indeed. And careful of those hood pins. They break really easy. Ask how I know. Yeah, Steve, actually, I think you had mentioned it in one of your videos. And of course, I was being very, very careful. And I don't know, one of these got tweaked a little bit, but I did manage to kind of get it back up in the right position. And I was like, don't touch it. Just leave it be. And it looks fairly good. But yeah, there are a lot of parts on these that you have to be very, very careful with. Chris was saying, okay, I'm at work and they expect me to do what they pay me for. I don't know that word. Have a good one, everyone. All right, Chris, take care. Thank you so much for stopping in. So that is chat all caught up there. Excuse me. So kind of, I wanted to discuss a few different things about my plans moving forward here with the Lewis stop. So with the engine here. So as you can see, as I turn it around, this is for the Ecto 1, and it's just blue, 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 blue. And I can't stand it. So, and then inside there as well. So what I'm going to do is basically just repaint the entire engine. Anything that I feel needs to stay blue will stay blue. Another thing that they did was, and this is kind of a debate in the community as well as when you look at pictures. So this is your air cleaner cover and it's black. Very unlikely that it was black. I'm not entirely sure because the pictures that I've seen of the actual Ecto 1, it's chrome. So I was thinking about shooting it with some all clad and sorry, I'm reading the chat, and maybe chroming it up a bit. It'll be a fun little experiment with all clad, and then also the valve covers. I want to do the valve covers in chrome just because it is my model and I want to do it my way. Kenny's got to head out, so take care, Kenny. Have a good one, and we'll see you later. And Lewis saying goodbye to Chris and Kenny. So does anybody else have any other questions or comments regarding the Partworks? So the conversation that I got with Todd the other day, and he works closely with Agora Models as well, was, is it worth continuing the enterprise? And for him, granted, he's pretty much almost all the way through it. As I think he's about as far, if not farther, than Wayne is at World of Wayne. And so, of course, he says just stick with it and keep doing it. But at the same time, like he also has the time and the money to spend on actually fixing those issues and making everything look a lot better. So I was just, I was almost swayed a bit just to maybe keep doing it, but my official decision was to just put an end to the enterprise and just carry on doing the Ecto 1, and I'll carry on doing the Gone in 60 Seconds Mustang, and of course the Bismarck. I would never drop the Bismarck for any reason, unless they ended up just saying we're done with it and discontinued it. But and then the fire truck, for obvious reasons, I will be continuing the fire truck. I still am. My fire chief has asked me if we could try to build, and I might have to have it done in resin, but I'm still looking for a couple of models, and I need a 79 Dodge. So I was thinking about taking a Dodge and throwing a utility bed on the back and adding all the pump hardware, if I can find that pump hardware for the pump panels and all that, from maybe steal them off of another kit. But we have a 1951 and a 1961 Seagrave. Now the 51 Seagrave is an open cab, and those are pretty common with like the American LaFrance engines that they produce, and you can see a lot of those. Hey Alex, how's it going? Just want to say a quick hi to Alex. He's popping in to say hi before he films stage 81 of the Ecto 1. Right on. Thanks Alex for stopping by. It's always good to see you, and definitely excited to see you continue on with the Ecto 1. So thanks again for swinging by. So with the 51 Open Cab Seagrave, one thing that, so the American LaFrance is almost a similar design, but Seagrave had a very, very unique front end on it with that nose. And so we basically want to mimic. So these are in our shop currently at the city yard, where we're going to be restoring them, and we just have to wait for money to come in so that we can restore them and put them into the museum. But what Chief would like me to do, and what I would like to do, is basically make a replica of the 51 open cab Seagrave that we have, as well as he really wants that engine 410, which was a 1979 Dodge utility. But then also we have engine 405, which is the 61 closed cab Seagrave. And I definitely would like to try to find that, but it's almost impossible to find a Seagrave of that year. I did find a resin kit of I think it was a few years older of the open cab Seagrave, but again, those are very expensive, and just kind of waiting on kind of seeing what the options are out there, or maybe just trying to create a design on a CAD program to come up with almost a similar design to what our engines look like that we're restoring. And then I'll be building those, and we'll be auctioning those off at one of our future annual fireman's benefits for the Yreka Fire Department. So anyways, that's kind of what I'm still looking for on that end of it, as well as the donation that I'm building for the fire department. There was talks of building a second Agora Models Ladder 9 to auction off, but the department we can't afford to put any money into, that build for that, because I was only basically offered about $200 or $300 to purchase supplies for the builds of these 3 models of the replicas that we currently have, and none of that will obviously be going towards the Ladder 9 truck. So just when I originally looked at that one resin kit for the Seagrave, it was like $90 just for a base front end and maybe like the chassis, but then you got to buy another kit to put underneath it for the chassis, I believe. And that other kit for those that matches it was a Seagrave, and it was like another $100. So that's almost $200 worth of my budget that the chief has given me to build those replicas. So Alex was saying hello to everybody. Burgess saying hi to Alex. Mark was saying, can't blame me for starting this totally innocent. Lewis was saying, I'm good. Thanks, Alex. How are you? And Lewis was saying, you literally started it, Mark. Yes, he literally did. So I think if nobody has any other questions, I didn't really have a lot planned other than to talk about. So here's all of the Partworks there, and then they're all on the desk here at the workbench. So I'm going to do a quick camera change here. And this isn't actually even all the parts, believe it or not. So there's a bunch of stuff over here. We've got a couple of doors, a load of parts for the Bismarck, and then you've got all this over here. So yeah, just all kinds of fun stuff. And so it's not like I'm completely giving up on the Partworks at the moment, because I do have a lot that I have to finish up and work on, but the Enterprise is definitely gone. And I don't know what I'm going to do with the parts that I have. Maybe just throw them in the bin, because I have no use for them, and there's probably no point in trying to sell them. So other than that, let's see. I'm not sure I'm going to fix the back end of the Ladder 9, but I got some idea for the missing decals and adding lights. So actually, that's a really good point, Bergdis. Let me grab... Here it is. Nope. Where did I put you? Is it in the box? Yep. So here's kind of a, hey Dan, how's it going, Quantum Man? Good to see you, Dan. Thanks for stopping by. So this is actually one of the things that I've been looking at working on is the back of the ladder truck here. So these are essentially just brake lights. They're painted in. Then you've got some up here and some down here. And so the idea is to try to light those up in some way. And so I may actually order another pack one just to do some testing to see what I can do with that, and maybe drilling it out and putting in some of that resin like World of Wayne's doing with his lights or windows on the Enterprise, and then just dyeing them red or putting some red Tamiya, the clear red on it, and then having them light up from behind. So that I'm assuming that's what you're talking about, Bergdus. That is something that isn't really too hard of a fix. It bugs me enough, but it doesn't bug me too much. I'm assuming they're going to have a lot of running lights and things like that aren't lit up, and it would be really nice to get all of them to light up, just because it's going to look a little weird if only certain lights are working, if you know what I mean. So that is pretty much everything I've got for you guys. I'm going to put this back in here. We're going to cut it short because I do have something very exciting coming in the mail, and I'd like to get to the post office to get that so I can clear off my workbench and get started on it here in the next day or two. So I have a few videos I'll be editing, getting them ready to go out this week to you guys, one of which will be another Bismarck episode. So we did miss a Bismarck episode last week. That's just because I didn't have time to film it. So I do have more of the Bismarck filmed and ready to go out, and we're going to be putting that out probably on Friday, and then Saturday I should have another Ladder 9 video, I'm hoping, and Wednesday should be either the Land Rover update part, I think we're at part 3 or part 4, or another Messerschmitt video. So just keep an eye for those coming out. And Dan was saying, been building drawers in my bedroom all this week. It's driving me mental. Or is it that more mental? No, you're just getting more mental, Dan. So I just want to thank each and every one of you for stopping by and joining me on this live stream and for interacting. I hope I was able to help anybody that is kind of at that point of deciding whether or not they want to start a Partwork build or are kind of rethinking it. Again, the decision is entirely up to you. This is just my personal perspective on things. And it's all in all, in the end, it's your model. You build it the way that you want to. And, you know, doesn't matter what anybody else thinks, right? So take care, everybody. Have a wonderful week. Don't forget to hit that like button. And if you have not subscribed to the channel, don't forget to subscribe. And other than that, I will see you guys next time.